Instead, you pick up a hero that he knows he can win 90% of, not even winning 90% of matchups, but he can go even with that hero in pretty much every situation. You see, that's the respect and that's the downside of having last pick. But it's interesting that they don't save last pick, like last pick for him. I guess not wanting to get a lot of his heroes banned, as they now need to look for an offlaner, I think, to round out their lineup. Unless, of course, they would like to flex that Windrunner into the offlane. But there
I
are
was
some calls they need to make.
I was gonna ask, does
Okay.
Infinity have a Meepo player?
I don't think so.
Okay, then this isn't the Meepo draft. Last time I saw a weird draft kind of scrappy like this, it was like the Meepo was like the last pick. But I think with the Storm Spirit now, though, that that possibility is completely out the window. There's actually not many. I don't think there is any Meepo players in NA, at least that are in this tournament.
Yes, I think that's one of the heroes that, especially in this region, have just been phased out. It's just not. It's one of those heroes that are, while still viable in very niche situations, it's just not good. It's not a good enough trick to have in the back pocket. Whereas other teams are very more so focused on having very strong laners, very better at the spirits, better at all of these other heroes. It's not a bad hero to learn, but I know I'm not going to learn Meepo.
No, I could hardly even do Lone Druid, let alone Meepo. I have a friend who won't play PL. That's how much he's like nowhere close to possibly being a Meepo player.
Oh boy. But the Storm is a decent answer. We did see it. In fact, it was actually Angel versus the Mars, and I guess in that case, I'm thinking of the Storm Spirit versus the Alchemist, where you will have to kite him around. This is a hero where if there isn't a lot of lockdown in the game already, the Storm Spirit will be able to, in other words, run around and do a lot of plays. But at the same time, if this wind is going to be mid, that's not a very good matchup for the Storm Spirit. And if you ever get shackled, it's always something you need to be scared of, especially if you commit on a target. And Infinity Esports think they need an offlaner. They do take out the Timber, which is interesting to me. Maybe picking up a strength safe laner, but
Io,
Ursa already taken out. Leicester taken out.
do you think
Uh,
Io
we,
has anything in here?
I would think that they could maybe run it, but I don't think they have a strong enough 5. They would have to make it the Dazzle. In fact, I just don't like Infinity's draft, I think. It's a little bit too much for me. And they do go for the Jug. A very stable hero, but at the same time, you're playing versus an Alchemist. Jug is one of the few solutions, though, that I did list up there with Monkey King. But now, Egoboys with 210 reserve time, they can really figure out whichever. I mean, they just get to figure out everything now. They're under no time pressure. They get to very calmly decide whether Alone's on the wind or if they want to pick an offlaner in his stead.
I mean, they actually have 2 minutes to make this. Like they spent 0 reserve time this game so far.
Now, we could be here for a while, but
Well, I mean, we could be here for 2 minutes. That
very
is a
true.
long while, though. We're just sitting here watching the reserve time tick down. Would be
Well, and I'm trying to picture heroes, but most of the nice thing about seeing these early cores picked up in the draft is you do get to target ban a lot of offlaners, as we see in Infinity Esports bans. But I think the big question is whether or not you want this Wind Ranger to now be your mid or your offlane. And Wind offlane isn't bad versus the Jug. If he ever spins, you don't really care about it, especially with the focus fire. And if he ever omnis you, I mean, that's a joke to Windrunner until you get that MKB. But in which case, they could just look to counter the Storm Spirit as well, where even though Alone win versus the Storm Spirit's very scary, I think Alone could play a multitude of other heroes in the same capacity.
I'm just being like left at the edge of my seat with their last pick. I mean, they could actually literally do anything too. Like they could run the weirdest safe laner possible and just swap out the lanes completely. Or they could just do like a mid OD. I mean, it's not good against Storm. Like that wouldn't really work out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what the verdict is that they're looking for either an aggressive mid or a forward offlaner.
Basically, and then there's the other part of me that's like, or they could just pick Brood. It's a pretty good Brood game.
I mean, actually,
But
this is a really good Brood game. There's not much they'd be able to do to contest it.
Alchemist Brood is not a thing, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's not a farming game. I mean, they would need somebody that's not a power farmer too. Like that wouldn't need consistency with all the farm. I mean, I think Quap is still okay here.
when a
Go for
large
the Void
number of
Spirit.
yeah, and it's not a bad pick in any stretch of the imagination, especially with this tiny offlane. They really don't have a lot of gas in the tank, and with those targeted offlane bans, they do just decide to run the offlane wind, and it makes sense. It is very good versus the jug, specifically in lane, and now we'll definitely struggle. That's not a very easy lane, especially with Benjaz. Oh, it's actually going to be offlane Tusk. We're going to see it again.
All right. I'm actually a big fan of the offlane Tusk. We saw it in our previous series, not last game, but in our previous series for the last game of that one, and
Paired with an Enchantress and an Alchemist again.
Yeah, this
and
is
and a Windrunner. Wait, what is happening?
It's practically mirror draft. Just Void Spirit is the last pick instead
of a Storm Spirit. That's interesting. Egoboys might be taking a note out of somebody else's book here, but
I mean, let's be honest.
I mean, it's even worse for the jug.
Everybody takes from everybody else's playbook. That's why they do scrims. They're like, wow, that was really good. Let's do that in our own game one day. And then they do it in their own game, and they're like, man, we're really bad at this. And then they just never do it again.
Well, and that's why the good teams, they keep it in the bag, until the back is against the wall. I remember VP saving strats, or even OG saving those strats up until TI, and then it was just like, oh, nobody has enough time for this. I guess we're just going to lose versus OG. And then they win 2 TIs.
I guess we lose.
Yeah.
Oh, winning 2 TIs, man. It's going to be so weird to come into this end of this season, go into the next one, and then there's TI. It's so weird to think that it's not around the corner, more or less, but it's happening.
There's still a lot of Dota. There's still a lot of Dota, but it's very it's cool, but you're right. It feels like it's close and not close at the same time.
I mean, I assure you, a lot of teams are looking forward to the international. Not even just teams that may or may not be attending it, just the existence of it, because it is one of our best sort of direct advertisement, more or less. Because then, everybody starts going like, well, leagues got X amount of prize pool and they got all this. And it's like, yeah, but do you have a $38 million prize pool? Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah, if anything, that was the smartest play Valve could have made, was even with the first one. $1 million sounds a lot cooler than $360,000 or whatever prize pool they could have set it at, because it really could have been anything. But that's really the biggest tool I think Valve has used over the years to excite people. Because you hear Ana's 6 millionaire or something after winning 2 TIs. It's the dream. It's living through someone else vicariously. But
where even is Ana? Are we at the point in time where
probably
Ana's
on
just not playing Dota again, and then he's got to show up for a TI and win again?
He's in the gravity chamber. He'll come out. He'll be 2 inches taller. He's gonna have even more CS. It's gonna be
He's gonna be.
We'll
buff.
see what happens. Exactly.
That'll be interesting. But yeah, we'll find out when TI comes around.
Yeah, exactly. And if anything, I think what could make or break Infinity's lineup here is, even in the game where we saw the Alk lose, which was in a much harder position with the Chaos Knight lane, this is a Dazzle versus Alk. This does kind of suck. You're just going to get right-clicked. If you ever get tossed back, Pamplona is really the one who's going to make or break this lane, I feel. And making sure this Enchantress card does not have too good of a time, because if he does get too many creeps, if he gets a little bit too much momentum going for the Alk, then it's really going to be difficult to get back that ground once you've lost it.
And we also saw just how effective a Dazzle was, although it was against the Death Prophet combo, just how effective it was overall. I mean, Kara's not going to be able to do much very early. I mean, there's the creep contest they could kind of do. I guess they could always just stack a creep on top of Rises so the tossback doesn't happen. Little Boy, though, actually might be the first pick here.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, he's... Fairy Fire, but now, meanwhile, in the mid, or bot, actually, they pick off Tano.
And I didn't expect him to get Shadow Wave level 1, because I just didn't even think that was a possibility in my mind, but Rises will take their creep wave back, and yeah, bottom, they got a little bit too ahead of themselves. They ran into a few too many brambles, and I guess he just got too low.
I mean, that's what it is, right? We saw it yesterday that these Dark Willow players... I just saw that courier get clipped. I zoomed away from it for 1 second. We saw that these Dark Willow players really know how to navigate Bramble to make it to where there's some that are just straight up invisible.
At the same time, though, in this bot lane, they do have to be very cautious. If they get a little bit too many levels on Benjaz, and he is the offlane Tusk. He does hit quite hard, and if they get a shards block off or they're able to get the stun out, I mean, Yogi's just denying creeps. What a beast. But the spin is a very long cooldown, and that's the cooldown that they're going to continue to pressure whenever he does use it aggressively.
And he can't ever really use it defensively, because it was like you were talking about too with the wind, just being able to turn it around at any given time. But we do see the brambles. We'll be dedicated here. Yogi might be in a bit of trouble, but slipping into the shadow realm there. We find that it's just going to be a lane of continuous trades, and going back to your original point, on top of the spinning, basically.
Yeah, and they do just have to be... nobody wants to die in these lanes because... Oh, Alone?
Yeah, I was seeing Alone going a bit of a damage fight there, but PP actually...
he baits him to the low ground. Oh boy.
It seemed like it was a 50-50 there for a little while.
And the only issue is because of the situation you have with this Alchemist, Kara might be able to send a creep, or he might put the creep in his stead, but you don't want to leave Rises alone. But with the way that the lane has been going, Pamplona has just been cutting the creep waves as many as he can, just because it's very difficult for Little Boy to actually lane after the way this lane started off. We haven't been feeling the really big presence coming in from this Dazzle, and that's why you saw that previous team pairing it with Tusk, where it's just a little bit of a more viable hero. Pamplona is not even level 2. They're really struggling in this top lane to pressure the Alk.
I also wanted to point out that it took a really long time for Pamplona to figure out what he wanted at level 1. Like, he got Toss, I think, when he was already halfway to 2. Well, he does have the ass top. The Toss have a combo, but Rise is taking a huge chunk of damage. Will it be enough? Yeah, it will. It will be split by the tower. But one way or another, this is what you were talking about. Rises has to be very careful of this combo.
And a combo that couldn't happen up until, exactly, he hits level 2, and then everything kind of breaks out. But now we're fighting over the runes.
Yep, it is rune time, and it looks like the stack up here is going to be Pamplona grabbing it, but a full power full shackle there. And Pamplona will be likely going down here alone, at least trying to trade in some damage here, but not able to get much beyond that. There is a courier here. PP will be able to get... No!
Oh my goodness.
Just in time. The power shot coming through there on Tano. I think he just got it too. Like, he just turned level 3 and
yeah, he just turned level 3, skilled it up. Even he most likely would have survived, but the salve coming in from Kara as well, guaranteeing that now he's going to be A-okay in lane. That was quite unfortunate for PP. I'm surprised that we didn't see Sexy Yogi getting involved, but he really doesn't want to leave his jug, and they keep on doing this. They want to spec into now. They want to have him have a very successful lane to try and carry them, but...
Stun. Out on the wind.
Ooh.
Tano does walk into the second bramble, but with wind run up, well, they will still find it, though. And that's what I was talking about earlier, is that these Dark Willow players really know how to make that second bramble in such a hard location to work with.
And now bounty runes up. The Alk's quite happy, and we haven't seen even in the previous series with that Chaos Knight, Alk was dying a little bit more there. But Kara hasn't really gotten the opportunity to make any stacks. So Rise has been losing out on a little bit of XP versus the Dazzle, but he's been stabilizing very steadily in the top lane.
Pamplona forced to toss up the bird. Yeah, back in bot, there is a snowball that goes out, but Benjaz unable to find a counter connection here. We'll throw out the shards, which actually buys him quite a bit of time, but walking into the first set, not really able to finish him off. In fact, the Remnant is going to be tossed out there with Alone rotating back in. Now does need to leave, immediately breaking this ward, and Tano slowing him down with the wind run and finding the good power shot shackle combo. Now will fall. And this courier will fall too.
And it felt like a slightly strange, but don't speak so soon. PP's here with a haste.
Yep, he zips in. There's that haste rune coming into work. So Spirit v Spirit Alone will go down, and possibly looking for Tano here. He actually runs right past him.
Overshot.
Well, does get hit with the shackle. It's not perma, though. It's only level 1.
He's trying to bait PP to go under tower versus Benjaz, and then he might have been in a little bit of danger there, but at first I thought it was going to be a bad rotation coming from Alone as Ben just TP'd out, but they just had enough gas in the tank. They were able to take down the Jug, and it was a very solid rotation.
And now you see that Jug is just in the mid lane now. Doesn't want to be down in the bot anymore. Dying very early like that.
And he will be able to just... It feels bad keeping to a lane.
Oh,
your
he
Storm
gets
already
the
in.
pin.
And rises.
Got perma-shackled to the cart there.
That's very unlucky, yeah. Also used Shadow Realm, it looks like a little bit too early.
Well, these lanes are even in the kill department. I believe the bounty runes were about the same sort of story. So if we jump over to the net worth, we do see that it is a tie. At the moment, the Jug and Alk are at equal footing.
And have to be careful in this top lane. Yogi's come over here, but Rises just pops his ultimate, and that kind of kills any aggression, but they might still try for it.
Yeah, they throw out the stun. They know that the Purge isn't available with it, so they will at least get the first stun. The toss up. There's not too much else to follow through here. He's actually got a Necronomicon, so, I mean, they might be able to get it, but Little Boy will be going down indefinitely. And you see Sexy Yogi, he really wants this kill. He's trying his best, slips into the Shadow Realm, but just no vision. Hang on. They get him. Good overall, but still, they might be losing Pampelona to this as well. Walks into the creep wave alone. No jump available, and Yogi pumping the Terrorize, but it looks like Yogi will be the one to fall. Holding the Terrorize. Nope. He manages to get the Fear just in time. With no leap charges available. Back down in the bot, though. We see that Ben Jazz was applying pressure to the Juggernaut, who also has his own Necronomicon.
And this is quite scary. You need to be very scared if you're this Jug now, because you'll get punched. Then you're going to lose all of your mana once these Necro Creeps start beating into you. And at the same time, it felt like that kill would have been so much cleaner. It was coming out literally on the Courier. It was maybe 5 seconds away from the Dazzle before they really first started onto that Alk. But getting kills, getting pressure on both of these safe laners is very key. But Kars had time to stack for Rises. He's taking them now, and as soon as you get this Battle Fury, I feel like Rises doesn't really have a hero to come and contest them, but it all comes back to runes, and we see it time and time again where Storm Spirits, Void Spirits, they get these runes, they make these strong rotations, they continue to snowball the game in one way or the other.
I mean, at least he's not building the Radiance run, right? Like, that's... I felt like that was kind of the big, like, loss in that Alchemist game. Hard to really be like, oh, this was an S-tier Alch game. When you go for the old-fashioned Radiance, I was even getting flamed in chat saying that Radiance is bad versus Battle Fury.
Yeah.
But it is.
It definitely is, and I mean, it's just the old Alch. It's just the simple fact that, while Wraith King can get it, Wraith King's got 2 lives. Alchemist does not have 2 lives, and he also does not have very good armor.
That's like saying Spectre still goes Radiance first item. That's like saying that, basically.
So long. But PP.
Yeah, PP. He is in a bit of trouble here. He'll get hit by the Remnant. The Snowball goes through, but just enough mana and HP to work with. Shards do go out, but he will be able to disengage, though. Tano pumps Power Shot. Ooh, one more level into that. He probably would have got that, or held it maybe for another second.
And I'm surprised Alone actually didn't cast his Resonant Pulse. I really thought they would have got him off that, but looks like Tana will be punished for this bounty.
Well, you might say that. Okay, well, yeah, he's definitely punished there. He's maybe trying to get the deny, but not able to get it. Throws a Power Shot out on the way.
Oh, Alone?
Back in mid. You see Alone. He's very low mana with no jumps available, but Ben Jazz is the only target they could really achieve. PP knows he's the one getting hit by the Snowball. He pings it out, and Ben Jazz will at least give him a little punch on the way out.
And now, grouping up with the cards, I was just going to mention that was something Ben Jazz was doing well bottom. He was able to form up on that tower and then rotate mid, almost playing as a pseudo Beastmaster, but with the Healing Ward, this is just the power of Jug, these early rotations, but he's taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, he's getting hit purely by the tower here. The fortification will be expended now, just taking a lot of damage to the Acid Spray while just getting clicked on by the tower. They do have the Fear being pumped. Alone will disengage the first stun, but yeah, they end up getting the Willow through that. Just not going to find the save slipping into the Shadow Realm on that one.
And during this time, I do like that now is getting active, but now that he's quite far away from his Battle Fury still, and I feel like he should be playing slightly more selfish as the Alchemist. He just came mid and Acid Sprayed while farming with his Battle Fury, and with this time, Rises is not getting contested, and they don't have many of the items they need to contest him on the way just yet. The Orchid is still quite a few components away, as well as the Blink Dagger and Pamplona. I feel as if they might need to try a smoke soon, otherwise Rises might get a little bit too much speed under them.
Well, you got 2 smokes on Pamplona if they want to end up getting that breakdown, but I feel like even with a not Silver's Edge, they need to get the...
There we go.
Oh, I was almost going with Solar Crest. Spirit Vessel, that's what I thought. The Spirit Vessel is going to be the big kind of ticket item for them to maybe get this Alk breakdown, but you're right that like they are on a time frame, and this time frame needs to be met. But I don't think
they're
Yogi
in a very good spot.
Oh,
whoa!
What happened? What? He just lost everything. He
got Centaur stomped. He got punched. There were 4 Necro creeps near the Centaur, and then just said, "I'm sick of this," and stunned the Storm Spirit. That's like a highlight reel clip right there. That was quite sad.
Well, they clip Yogi's courier here, which kind of reveals a little bit of information that they know that there is a support all the way in the back line here.
And I don't think either side really expected this, but yeah, the support's
cool. Benjaz timing it perfectly. He's able to get the snowball. However, this is still going to confirm his death. He'll get the punch on the way out, and Pamplona actually very low here, setting it up for Alone to get anything. But actually, you see PP coming in here with the zip. They put some decent damage out to the Void Spirit. The Fear will help him get the confirm. And they want more, though. They want to go for Kara, looking for the lucky toss. Just can't quite get it, though. Meanwhile, in the back lines, there's a power shot I heard that went out, but the tower will still go down to Little Boy.
And it was very unlucky for Alone. He wasn't able to get the bottle. He wasn't able to activate his regen rune before getting the Yules off because he was still affected by Poison Touch. And just one kill after another, and the smoke actually ended up paying off with Pamplona and Sexy Yogi. But still, Rises is farming. He's not been touched. He's got a Sange coming out now, even though it looks like it might get clipped. Ooh.
Yeah, they're playing with slips into the Shadow Realm to get the bonus attack range. To get that one, so they will get the Sange, but you can see he's already TPing out from the bot. The Jug now with his own Battle Fury, however, so the catch-up and the Battle Fury race is pretty much there. Now is going to be discovered by Smoke, however, Tano, maybe not reading the situation completely, as Little Boy is the target they were going for instead. They will clip his courier on the way out, which actually didn't reach to him. The Tier 3 Necronomicon in there, but in the meantime, they do manage to pick off Kara with the power of supports. The fact that Dark Willow has 2 ults, but however, they are rotating in. Storm wanted the DD rune. He will pop it. They might actually try to turn this into a fight. Doesn't have the silence, though, and has very low mana to work with.
Oh.
Zips up and zips across. Benjaz will throw out the shard. The punch is barely within range here. He's just got a little bit more move speed over PP. He actually stops to hit the creep. That had to be purely on accident. There's no way.
Perhaps using right click, yeah, accidentally attacks the creep, and they were able to catch him. He was most likely caught anyway, but still, it's very unfortunate. And with the storm going down, now Rises is free to come back to his ancient area. I was going to praise them with how much they've been able to kind of scare Kara into being this almost human ward and sit here for the Alchemist, but now he's going to be completely fine farming up. You'll have a full Sange and Yasha when his courier is alive. He's farming so quickly. And they feel pressure on Infinity Esports. They want to keep making these plays, but still, no Orchid on Storm. He'll have it in one creep camp, but it feels slightly discombobulated from their side. They might get Kara again, but
I mean, it looks like Kara's definitely going down here.
But it feels like you're sick of getting him. He's died so many times, but in spots that he shouldn't be dying in, because it's not the best kill. They're looking for meteor targets, freer picks, but instead, it's just the Alk getting even more speed.
I mean, the Yasha is up now as well, so Rises, he's going to have the full SNY, and BP is reviewing in the mid lane here. He does take the shot from the Dagon creep there.
Oh, Tano.
Oh, yeah, they do look for Tano and find him, actually, in the sideline here. The Shackle shot not able to find too much outside of that, but Yogi is going to get caught by the snowball here, but the silence has been revealed. Yogi, though, still in trouble as Alone will jump in and look to get the finish off. Shadow Realm not going to help him, but the Yules is going to be there. The Omni Slash basically negated all of it. However, Alone will still go down, but Rises coming in, maybe to try to put down a good team fight, but just really can't get anything done. And regeneration rune on PP, he's just able to zip away as many times as he wants.
They got
Does
it.
get it broken though.
Yeah, he went a little bit too crazy. The entire enemy team knew that he was only one step left, and as soon as he used it. But again, Rises hasn't had to really stop to fight at all. He just makes a very quick rotation, hits people for maybe 2 seconds, then TP's back to his triangle and keeps farming.
PP throwing out the tip to Ben Jazz, basically making sure that he knows that he broke the regen rune.
Yes. But the issue that I'm coming up for an Infinity Esports is just that now, while they don't have a lot of lockdown on Egoboys, 2 Blink Daggers are coming out freshly for the Tusk and for the Windrunner, and they're both very close to it.
Yeah, he's about 100 gold away. These blinks are going to be a big team fight changer for them, and it's not like they're not behind, more or less. But, I mean, this is going back to the whole Alchemist scenario that he is top of the net worth, and he can just kind of just run with this game still. Like you've been saying, he's been relatively uncontested. Yeah, now needs to be careful. He will get power shot, shackle, comboed. He's just straight dead. Didn't even really need tag team for it, but they did it.
When you had heroes hovering around mid because the rune is spawning in 5 seconds or so, but that's a big death that you really don't want to give up. Now Alchemist is sitting on 2,500 gold, building towards the heart, and where's your damage coming from? It's really just coming from the Jug and the Orchid. Oh, maybe Rises. He got the ult off.
Yeah, he popped ult though. He's gonna have a lot of HP regen to work with, and now you see that Tana rotates in. Looking for the shackle, unable to find it, but on the back lines, they will be able to find Sexy Yogi. Does buy a lot of time, though, and actually puts out the Terrorize, maybe putting in some decent damage, but nothing for the follow-up there.
Little boy needs to be so careful.
Yeah, you just see Win jumping in. Tano, I think with that zip out, though, it kind of gives him a good chunk of information here, but Pamplona, they just got to reset, more or less. But Egoboys, they really want to keep getting these picks. They're having a great time just making sure this happens, and you already see the first part of the heart just rolling out.
Again, now is farming in a very scary spot, and with these 2 Blink Daggers, the counter initiation, you need to be scared of it.
Speaking of which,
yeah, now
Blink Dagger now again is going to be found out here, but since he's already spinning, he's going to be in a good spot, and Alone does zip out for the time being. With an Astral Step there. Oh, they find the kill on Tano, though. It is a big 3-man split.
They just barely weren't able to chain it up along with the Aether Remnant, so he was able to spin out of it. Otherwise, it would have been a very close kill.
Oh, Ben Jazz comes in. Remnant is locked, and they find him. And that's the combo you got there. Blink Reveal going to work, but down in bot lane, Rises might be in a bit of trouble here. He is hit with a normal Urn, but the Poison Touch will keep him pretty negated. But you see Kara coming in.
There's Kara.
The heal is going to be there. And Rises, I mean, Kara's actually, he just wants to run at them. He's going to get stunned up and hit with the Poison Touch. You see the blink in immediately from Pamplona, though. They want to get this response. The root is there, and Benjaz unable to drop the snowball. Little boy needs to be careful. Alone is chasing after him. Meanwhile, on the sidelines, Yogi is being chased down by Tano here, and they will find the kill on Little Boy. And next will be Yogi as he gets shackled to the trees for that extra stun time, and they will find this kill eventually. They will pop the Terrorize. He's trying to put some damage on the way out, but it'll only be so much.
It's unfortunate. One of the saddest feelings in the world is whenever they did smoke under a ward just now, but playing Tusk and getting rooted, you can't use your snowball. It really is detrimental, but they knew Storm Spirit was dead for another 15 seconds. Jug was showing in the top wave, so they had no fear running at him, and you saw that in Kara, just absolutely a unit, just running there, right-clicking people with the Impetus.
I mean, you can't underestimate the power of the 5 Enchantress. It's only level 2 Impetus as well. It does so much damage very early.
And with the heart now on Rises, now those opportunities are getting smaller and smaller as Infinity Esports aren't able to build as much damage. Oh, if they smoke and find the Alk, I don't even know if they could kill them at this point. He just doesn't have a damage item on Jug yet. He's went for that Manta style.
I mean, is the Manta even really going to save him, though? He keeps just getting jumped and insta-punched. I mean, the Butterfly might be the one that would save him from that. It would save him from initially getting punched the first time. Because it's not like Earthshaker where the chant totem always hits. Punch doesn't always hit.
Oh, it's a double
Speaking
smoke.
of which,
oh no.
they jump in, they get the punch, and I mean, this looks like a very dead, I was going to say little boy, but they will find the kill on the Dazzle, and they will trade off for Tano, though Alone is trying to get some kills on the sidelines while the Ego Slam, the Omni Slash goes through. Does a lot of damage here. They have to disengage for the time being. PP needs to reset here as the snowball goes through. Courier gets clipped, but there's nothing in it. Rises. He wants to get the full duration, and he will indeed get it. Throws out the OK. They will find this kill while now is spinning out onto Kara here. They will find the support trade-off. And the tower.
And up until Rises has his basher, he really won't be able to control and stick onto the Jug. And the Jug getting the Mantis out just as a preemptive purchase to the eventuality that is this Void Spirit Ags. If anything, it was a good try to try and get that Void Spirit kill, as if they didn't get that, they really wouldn't have gotten anything, as they kept him stunned up long enough that he wasn't able to get the self-fuels off. But again, you can either ignore the Alch, you can split push the Alch, or you can try and kill this Alchemist. And right now, having to... You're forced to fight him, and while your Jug is able to walk away, isn't under too much pressure, I can't imagine you're too happy if you're in Infinity Esports, because critical mass is almost being achieved as Rises queues up the AC. Then the Alchemist will really have an issue killing the entire Egoboys lineup. Oh, Kara.
I mean, this is the life of the Enchantress. Slow and insidious death, and it's not really much they could do. They're throwing out another OK.
So I really feel like we are seeing double, though, because in the instead of Kara, before we had A, and he was just buying time for his Alchemist, doing whatever he can, because you really just need to wait and farm. It's just that kind of game.
At least it's not one of those games where Alk is absolutely dominating and running over the whole entire map and taking both your and their jungle within literal seconds. This is flashing back, of course, to the old-fashioned Manta Boots of Travel Radiance Alk.
And they're getting Roche.
I mean, they can't really do any sort of contest here. I don't think they knew it was happening. Is there a ward that got? Nope, no ward.
No,
I don't think they had a really great way to contest it, though. Like, the Tusk can come in and do one singular spell. It's not like a it's not an Echo Slam, or it's not an AA Blast.
Well, and that's the sort of issue with this Tusk pick being the offlane. You don't have... And the reason they keep on having to pick this Tusk in this position is because all of the good offlaners are gone. All of the ideals are really taken out, and then they're flexing it into this lineup. And at least this time around, we are seeing the Alchemist in a much further ahead spot. But giving up that Roche, it definitely feels sort of bad. Especially, it's just so fast with the Dazzle. It's not a huge time commitment. Even though it does still feel like Infinity Esports will have difficulty fighting into Egoboys as this Alch. I mean, he's going to continue to march down lanes, but if you can go 1-for-1 towers here, I think you're very happy if you're Infinity Esports. You just need more time.
It looks like they're going to try to buy that time in the form of trading towers here. They didn't fort trade, though, as... Oh, they did fort trade. But, I mean, Rises is just going to click into this tower, and he's going to be coming to this quite late.
And tier 3s.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be able to put some good damage into this tier 3, but they see Alone over here thanks to this ward. And they will hit him with the Avalanche. But not quite enough. Alone, they will reveal that the silence is there.
It's a great ward placement. They made Alone sweat for a second there, but a little bit strange that they were allowing the Infinity Esports to hit into that tier 3 as much as they were able to. They took about 1,000 HP off of it. But even Egoboys, they don't want to necessarily fight into Storm Spirit Aegis. They don't want to throw away any lead they do have, because they know as soon as they lose any singular fight, then the game really starts to spiral, and it is going to spiral into Infinity Esports' favor, as we see all 3 of their cores leading up the net worth chart. Oh, Kara?
Well, he's the first one to sort of break the smoke here. Well, there's not really too much actually floating around, though. I guess there's no counter smoke going up by Infinity yet either. At least they didn't ult the heck out of this illusion.
Oh, and it looks like Rise is set up in a very good spot. We'll just start to roll this tier 2 tower as instead Infinity want to take the map, and now the roles have sort of reversed. Oh, now got a bounty rune denied in front of his face, but as we talked about a lot, it's so important to have map control when you have these spirits, as the Storm gets a arcane rune yoinked in front of them. In fact, they were trying to bait the arcane rune for a while there. But now, Rises, they've got the lanes in such a good position, Egoboys are just going to start sieging your tower, and we literally have reversed the roles. Now they need to come back.
Yeah, I mean, they're putting in some decent damage into this. The only difference is that they do have the fortification available. So they will just fort and make them push back. There is no Roche to be taking for a long time because it literally just happened.
And both sides want tier 3 items. They ideally would want to wait as long as possible, but now finding a Paladin sword, that's very nice on his side.
Yeah, that's the that is definitely the Jug's key item here. I don't even know what he had beforehand.
I think it was either a Van Brace or something unimportant, but they're going to smoke up again.
I mean, that's the name of the game, is that smoke and find a very important pick. And I mean, you could technically see that you find Rises off the get-go alone.
Oh, PP.
They find PP with the shackle. He's just dead. That is the first Aegis, though. Or the first Aegis, first life.
He's got the stun on the snowball.
Yeah, the snowball is there, and they have the shallow grave. They have to buy time with this. The Yules goes up. Doesn't have any burn damage, but he's silenced up immediately with the storm zip in from the Void Spirit, and Void Spirit actually is gonna fall himself while the Omni Slash rips through this lineup.
And this is
now you have to jump in. Benjaz, he has to end up snowballing to disengage, but he's got nothing. He ends up going down with this one. It's an insane quick swap out, and they're not even done. You see the zip in from PP. They want Rises. They know his ult is down for another 20 seconds. Can they get a stun there in time? Yes, they can. The root is going to be there, and they're going to find this kill. They have the stun available, the urn as well, burning away that HP.
And that was so incredibly played by Infinity Esports. PP was incredibly calm, even when he was at dropping below 400 HP, incredibly low. He just simply zips out, continues to right-click, and it was Alone who actually overextended. Again, he had no pulses, he got none of his spells off after that second silence. He couldn't even self-Yules, and leading to all of these kills, his team was just way too deep, and there wasn't an Alk in front. He wasn't able to lead the battle. And now, again, we're back on your high ground. They don't have Glyph for another 50 seconds, and now might be able to even claim this tier 3 tower.
He's working on it. The Basher's going to be next for him, but yeah, this is a dead tower here. They might try for a deny, but not going to get it. Now we'll end up taking a little bit of damage from the first Dagon creep. The second Dagon creep is going to hit Kara here. Still gets hit by the Remnant, but this is kind of running back to the fact that there's not much they could do with Alk just being dead, and at the same time, it's just Alk. That's where their damage is right now. I mean, Alone is great for reinitiating this fight, but they'll have to let it go for the time. They get the racks, though. That's exactly what they wanted to achieve with this engagement.
And you see again that there is just no really reliable lockdown coming out from Ego Esports. They tried keeping that Storm Spirit pinned down as long as possible. They had the Ags. He doesn't have a BKB yet on Storm, and that should have been it. That should have been his last song, but instead, they just don't have that big team fight. They don't have that guaranteed disable, and he's just able to squeak out by a smidge, and everything turns on his head after that with Pamplona just jumping the backline, Drug just being able to do so much damage with his Omni Slash, and this is looking really bad for Ego Esports going forward.
The Abyssal Blade is also almost done for now. As soon as this is done, like, you're gonna see this out get picked off in every single one of these team fights. And it's going back to your original point that there's just no real good counter disable. Like, you've got your Shackle, and that's really the biggest one that you have available, because the Tusk Punch is great. It holds them up for a little bit of time, but it's just the punch. And see, where are our TPs at? Okay, they have full TPs available, but I mean, Infinity know what they could do, and they're just going to keep running at towers.
They just have no good way to really get this healing ward out of his hands. It'd probably be the win running forward and taking it out, but again, it feels like Infinity Esports are able to take so many objectives for free because that initiation isn't there from the Egoboys. That punishment isn't there, where Jug is going to hit a tower and then there's that risk of him dying. Instead, it's, I'm going to hit that tower, I'm going to spin if literally anything happens, and I'm going to be completely fine because I have this Butterfly, I have this Basher, and I'm going to turn on you instead. And now with the BKB on PP, this game is getting harder and harder for the Egoboys.
Yeah. I don't want to say this is the next play until we wait till the Roshan, but like they already have the insurance plan like you're talking about. Run out with the healing ward and just spin at all possible threats. Like he's not afraid of the Tusk blinking in to do the punch, because the punch is just the only threat that's outside of the BKB. Like there's no basher hero that you're running here, and I mean Void Spirit can't do anything when you're spinning. I mean the silence is there, but since the Jug ended up running for the Manta and not the SNY build, he has the Dispel for it.
And it's the same problem that we saw in our previous series with Infamous, where they're just struggling to find any decent team fight, whereas Infinity Esports, they get to play so actively, they get to play so aggressively into the Egoboys lineup, and if they kite out the Alchemist for too long, then he's useless. The bright side is he does have a 10-second BKB, so he will be able to stick on this backline a little bit more, but Roche respawning in 5 seconds. This is feels like it's coming to be one of the last fights of the game.
Yeah, Roche in 5 seconds, plus now showing off his fresh new Abyssal Blade. And you see Alone, he has to get out of there as soon as possible, and a defensive BKB from Tano to try to leave. He will go ahead and pop his ult here, but the Omni Slash goes through immediately. Wind is going to Wind Run out, causing the Omni Slash to do literally nothing, but PP showing off his BKB as well, but Ryze is throwing out his. They are going to turn on this fight a little bit on the head here, but Little Boy is going to try to get out of here. Will throw out the Shallow Grave, but immediately Alone gets jumped on by PP. He's going to lose all of his HP to that one zip alone, and now you see the Avatos with the silence to follow through. Now is coming in and clicking on the man. He is going down. 3 dead, and now Kara next on the to-do list. The only one to survive was Wind, and now it's just a free Roshan.
And again, they just get kited so far out of their base, so far out of their safe zone. And even though Ryze's was tangled up with that shackle shot, once he got back to the fight, once they were able to refocus, they just have nothing for the Storm Spirit. I mean, it was even a last pick. Well, not the entire last pick, but this Void Spirit is not doing enough to counter against it. In fact, he sat on this ward spot for maybe 10 seconds just because without his steps, without his charges...
PP. Ooh. He zipped in and ate the cheese mid-zip to end up getting that jump in there, but not going to find anything. But they do force the BKB from Wind.
And they get BKBs out of both these heroes, and now, I mean, this is just Rax.
I mean, fortunately, they can only get Rax, as there is a tier 1 and tier 2 still available in this bot lane. But you could see Infinity
just wants to hit.
Yeah, I mean, they got to take the advantage that they know that they have. Pressure some of these additional buildings. But now they're just going to...
using all of his spells, he'll probably back out now.
Yeah, they're just going to reset. Work on getting the last of these towers here, as the whole entire bot lane is still available. That kind of like gives a huge definition as to how, like, what little impact the bot towers actually do for a game.
There's just nothing of real importance down here, as well as how Roshan-centric the entire game is played. You need to be very careful with the smoke. They're gonna pop. They saw the Jug, but they don't want him.
I mean, Jug is a very hard one to go after. Plus, he's got the Aegis. They will find the punch, but immediately jumping in Alone is gonna get picked, but he buys back immediately. No real method to get in there, though. There's nothing to TP to. I'd say that, though. He actually TPs to the outpost, not the tower. Jug still with Omni Slash available, but he's just clicking into Benjaz. Little Boy does fall at the beginning of this transaction, but they go ahead and Omni out this Alchemist. He will buy back, though. They are tearing into them quite effectively here, as you do see Tiny is going to be going down. Pamplona and the spin TP out from now. They will go ahead and leave, as they lose 3 from this transaction with 2 total buybacks, but both of these buys being cores. And I mean, looking at the gold change, there's literally no difference in what happened here.
If anything, they must feel pretty bad about that, as all of the cores just immediately got out as soon as that happened. And Ryze, he's got the Basher queued up now, but that's the item he needs to fight versus this Jug. It just feels like this Jug is a little bit too far ahead of him at this point. And while they will be able to push into this mid-tower, I don't think they're even going to force buybacks. I don't think that Infinity Esports are really under any pressure right now from Egoboys. It's just business as usual.
I mean, you can see that this is the desperation of the game. You can go to Ryze's real quick. You can see he's got this Divine queued up. As the last item does come in for him, it's actually just these TPs that's trying to get to him, because he's a very fast boy. But Divine is the name of the game. We're already at that point in time, 36 minutes in. Auk still leading the top of the net worth, but the fact that he's actually now tied because he sold his boots. Well, he's got spider legs, so he'll be fine in that department, but this is the name of the game. It's divine or die.
In that last fight as well, they had the perfect jump. They started on Dazzle. Little Boy got none of his spells off. That usually he's the most annoying hero in these fights. He's getting the Greaves off. He's getting the constant shadow waves. But even when you kill him, there's just so much to get through. The Dark Willow, Sexy Yogi's playing so well. He's taking so long for all these heroes to die. And he has the Divine, but I don't know if they have enough lockdowns still.
Infinity are actually... they're smoked up. They wanted to try to find somebody to get the good jump there, but nobody to find. I mean, they'll be fine taking the tower. They don't know about the divine, not yet at least. Trying to see if there's any aggressive wards that might give them that sort of identification or not. But there's just nothing around. No wards in this triangle. No wards outside either.
They jumped an illusion. I believe it was a Kara illusion very quickly and killed it. But now, not even smoked up, it's very difficult for Egoboys to find an in here. If Ryze had an Abyssal, then I'd be a believer, but it still feels like it's going to be a very long time before he's going to have that Basher, and at that point, Jug is still going to be able to run over a lot of these fights. Still having Aegis as well for another 30 seconds. If he wanted, he could just go die bottom.
Well, 30 seconds is a bit of a hot...
You gotta die pretty fast, but
yeah,
it looks like that's what he wants.
Death, like, immediately. Well, they do force the TPs. I don't think they are pinging out that there might have been a ward here in the mid, but there's currently nothing. He just left on instinct.
And now with all the pressure, all the lanes you already have, they have to stay in their base. And every time you force them back, you can either take the map or... Not saying we're going to have to wait for another Aegis to respawn before the game's over, but that's the position that Infinity Esports in. They really don't need to win a fight.
They do find PP. They hit him up with the punch. The silence follows through, and just all of Benjaz's HP is gone within literal seconds. But now they're going to keep going on to this one. They want to look for this Enchantress. The spin is going out. They're trying to pump into Kara, but instead they go for the Auk. They see the Divine Rapier, though. The Aegis insta-gone, because we already saw it anyway, and now the Divine Rapier tearing into him, and PP's like, get back, get back, get back. I just died to Divine Rapier. I took 300 damage in one right click.
And a picture-perfect jump. At the same time, Benjaz getting bursted there. He wasn't able to get the BKB off out of the Storm's Vortex, but did not get Omni Slash off. He didn't get anything off on the Jug. Same with the Storm Spirit. As soon as he didn't have BKB, he just walked to that Alchemist and he let himself get concocted. There's nothing he could do there either, and this Divine, it's a shot. It's a shot in the dark, but they could still pull this together if they're able to kill these cores.
I mean, it's going back to your original statement now. After these two cores are dead, it's Roche. That's where it's going to go down to. We got 2 minutes left on that, and I mean, Infinity, they could definitely buy out those 2 minutes. They will lose the rest of... Well, they actually don't have any other towers to lose, but the Rapier is where they have to play against, and the only problem is that the longer they take, the more items this Alchemist is going to get, because you could see with his spending habits that he's going strictly into full buy. Like, he is not keeping for buyback. He's got 3 minutes left on it. So he's not really afraid of dying, more or less.
And that's the nice thing about this new talent. Not even a new talent, but people didn't get it before. The 25% cleave. He's got the Battle Fury backpacked unless he does need to kill a lot of creeps. And with that, the Abyssal Blade, that's his timing. That's when he can get some stuff done finally. Oh, Kara.
I didn't even see that. They do lose the gem, actually. It's kind of a big loss there. But
yeah,
not
he got
not
a little
terribly.
bit too cocky. Pamplona just jumped him, got the divine, or got the gem back, dewarded himself.
Divine Enchantress.
That would be interesting, but it's very sad in his inventory right now in Kara's.
Well, we got a possible... What, 30 seconds? Yeah, 30 seconds until the next possible Roche. And you could see with that one pick, Egoboys are like not having it. They're going to stay in their base, and they want nothing to do with anything that could happen outside of it. They're even smoked inside the base.
At first, I thought they were looking to purchase an item, but Abyssal Blade already on Ryze's they're just trying to find anyone. If they can get a kill with the Roche maybe respawning, it would definitely lead to a buyback, but I think they're going a little bit too low. Not going to be able to hit anyone.
Yeah, nobody running around in particular. So it's just going to be a big old circle around here. They don't want to reveal, though, is the other thing. Like, they don't want to walk in the lane and click on creeps. That'll give them a lot of information, but
They're very scared to ever initiate, and now with the Storm Spirit, he constantly has to be afraid of rises, but they really don't want the fight to start on the Alk.
So you can see that the Juggernaut, by the way, was working up for the Monkey King bar. Oh, hang on. Zip. What? Who? What?
All of his mana. All of his mana.
All for an Arcane Rune.
And he got it.
No, it was the Regen Rune. Never mind. He has an Arcane Rune bottle.
Worth. Yeah, he's got an Arcane Rune in the back pocket now, and that's really useful. That's quite scary. But you see, T4 is under siege. They need to come back and defend it, and it feels awful because they're getting pulled away from this Roshan, and they never want to show him these ways because they really can't afford to die on anyone at this point on Egoboys.
Well, the Alk's not really concerned about it, though. He'll just keep on running around. Doesn't have travels because he went for the alternate build here. He's got mass mangoes as he has no mana.
Very hungry Alk. Very hungry Alk.
Oh, you hear the fear being channeled here, but now you see with Tiny in the pit, they know the Roche is live.
Oh.
Now does not get hit with the Perma Shackle, though, but he will jump in to try to find the jump on Tano here, and Storm Spirit zipping around. The BKB goes out on the rises to make sure he doesn't stun himself. And that kind of gives a little bit of this light reset here. Yogi comes in, drops the Terrorize under the brambles. This is huge. If they get this kill on rises, he's up in the air. He's dead. Omni Slash going through the Divine is on the ground, and you can see the Storm Spirit hovering over it. And Divine has been picked up by the Juggernaut. Rises is going to tear into the rest of this team as G Pride. Egoboys slowly losing their lives here. They find this kill on the car. The spin damage is too much to deal with. They find alone and drop the GG. Rises is done. This will make it a 1-1 series as Infinity won the game with the Divine Rapier pickup off the Jug. And that
Alk's net worth is ruined.
Yeah, like Alk's net worth is gone, is out the window. He was even building into the Moon Shard, which would have decreased his net worth even that slight little bit more. I don't know who. I mean, he was going to eat it, obviously, but it was the that quick blitz there and Divine Rapier hitting the ground. A lot of these games always come down to that, though. Like when it gets super like, not ultra late. I think we were in like still the normal late, because ultra late's when you have the max tier items out. But when you get into this late of a game, it is that do or die, and Divine Rapier is the main definer. And Alchemist is just not the right hero to kind of carry the Divine Rapier still.
And it's really just back against the wall. He is out of options. There's nothing he can do. He's already playing versus a Butterfly, and he doesn't want to buy the MKB. And that's the big place where it stems from. But the entire time now is ahead of Rises. Even in the Alk versus Jug, he was able to keep up perfectly. And it just goes back to that draft where it's so difficult for Egoboys to execute their lineup, even though they were able to get a little bit of team fighting done in the early game. As soon as they misplay just a little bit here and there, there's a Storm Spirit on the enemy team. There's a Jug who doesn't care about any of your heroes. And Pamplona and Sexy Yogi were so good at the counter initiations. Infinity Esports, their lineup was just a perfect counter to Egoboys' hard to execute lineup. There's not much more to be said.
I'm kind of glad we're having Alk games be a loss, though. Like, I know that you like Alchemist in the fact that it is that secret sort of NA pocket draft. Or not really even a pocket draft. We've seen it picked up actually more times today than I think we have the whole week.
Everybody just hates it. But yeah, the South Americans definitely like letting it through, and it's not invulnerable. It really isn't. I'm sure we'll watch some NA games, and they're going to still continue to first phase ban it. We're going to still see them first phase pick it. But all these players played fantastically versus it. It never felt like this Alk was going to 1v9. It never felt like Rises was going to have that situation arise. But still, great game overall.
It's a fairly even game, and it wasn't just a one side was going to win and one side was going to lose right off the get-go. It was still a very even game throughout the whole entire scenario, because you saw the Divine Rapier near the end there for that team fight, and that caught them off guard, and they just needed to not really do it again, more or less. But it was the scenario of that's the best option that they had available, and it bites them in the end. But ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, that actually is the end of the stream. There actually will not be a fourth series today, as some of you may have heard that 4 Zoomers were given the defo win over 5-man Midas. They ended up forfeiting only the series. They are not out like Black and Yellow had dropped for mysterious reasons. I can't remember what the tweet said in particular, but they did end up forfeiting this series, not the whole entire tournament, though. You will see that 5-man Midas in their later games, I believe, in 2 days? Because we don't have them tomorrow.
Let me take a look at the schedule.
I've
got it up too.
I'm making poor excuses.
Tomorrow we've got Undying versus Infinity to lead off the day. Man, Undying just gets to play early. That's so nice.
Yeah, I'd
SG
love to have
versus
the opening
Arkosh,
games.
Unknown versus Dogchamp, and we'll get to see Penta. I'm very excited to see Penta Ace play again. They're the one team that I think has the most internationally vetted players. It's just always nice to see Fear playing again as well. That roster is very fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see them pull out a Life Stealer. Like, that's the most interesting thing I've seen in quite some time. Yes, and winning with it, of course.
26-minute win, no less. It was quite a short game.
Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for us on the BTS main stream. Hope you enjoyed some NA Dota tonight. ET, do you have anything to say on the way out? Other than what we've already said?
It wasn't just NA Dota, it's the SA Dota, you know, we're keeping it. But tomorrow, we're fighting. Arkosh versus SG, Undying versus Infinity. Don't go anywhere. It's NA versus SA day tomorrow.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching the BTS Pro Series number 5. We will see you tomorrow for some more Dota 2 action. This is PartyPetee and ET signing off.